Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Kristen Richmond, a Volunteer Engagement Manager. For this training video, we will be going over how to manually assign a volunteer or user to a specific volunteer position at your health fair. As a reminder, we are on 9healthvolunteer.org. Once you are signed in, this is what you will see. If you're having trouble signing in, there are videos to help you. If you have more than one health fair site attached to your account, click this drop-down menu and make sure you're working in the proper site that you are wanting to. There are several different ways to manually add a volunteer to a volunteer position. Since we're starting out on this page, we will start here. You can either click here to schedule volunteers, or as we discussed in the past, your your health fair will show up on the specific date that it's scheduled. So make sure you're in the proper month. If not, click over on this arrow to make sure you get to where you need to be. Once you find your health fair date, you can click View More here. And then you'll choose the volunteer position that you are wanting to assign a volunteer. It is important that you notice if there is an open slot. So if I wanted to add someone to registration here, but there's no more open slots. Before you would actually be able to add a volunteer to this position, you need to open up a higher capacity and open up some more slots. So just keep that in mind. So let's say we want to do observer. So we'll say schedule users for this shift. You can search their name here or their email. It is important to know that in order for them to come up in this list, when you search them, in order for them to come up, like say we search my name here, nothing would come up because I'm not previously associated, or my volunteer account is not previously associated with this particular location. So I will not come up. So if you are searching for a user, and either this or in another way that I'm going to show you how to manually assign a volunteer. If you're ever searching for them and it's saying they're not there, but you know that they are in the system, then what you're going to want to do is reach out to the volunteer engagement department or your liaison directly. There is a way that we can assign a volunteer to your health fair or to your location. And then from there, they would then show up in this list and you can go ahead and manually assign them. So if nothing is showing up, please reach out to us. It doesn't necessarily mean that you did anything wrong. So I am going to pull up a volunteer that I know is here. And so then you would just click here and click Add to List. If you don't know their name or email, you can always search by category. And this is the similar function as in other table filters. So remember our conversation about and any. There's a little pop-up if you need support. I always find it on the safe side to do any, because then it'll bring up anything related. The and is more conditional. So this is an observer medical position. So let's say that we wanted to filter by qualification. Of course, we want people who have been approved for maybe medical license certificates. Now you'll notice there's secondary one here. So if you wanted to do both, then you could add new filter. And remember, if you click and here, that means these both have to be true in order for them to show up down here. So that would mean that you're requiring people to have two different certifications, right? So no, we want to put any. And then we'll do the same thing as above, has been approved for. And then we'll choose the secondary one down here, filter. And then now people have been brought up that have an approved medical certification, and you can choose the person that you want to add to the volunteer position. Let's say it's Mark, and then we'll click Add to List. For the purposes of this training video, we are not going to add anybody, but that's what you would do. The second way is by going into responses and clicking Add New Response here. But this is a little tricky, but it's just as easy, I promise. You just have to remember that before you click add response here, you actually need the ID number for the volunteer position that you're wanting to assign your volunteer to. Where you find that is under here in volunteer positions. And it brings up all your positions here. And then in this column is an ID number. It's important if you are not seeing this ID number in your table, then I want you to click over here to table filter. And it should be known that any section over here where you click into it and it has a table like so, there's always a table filter giving you options for more information. So you can click on or off depending on what information is most important to you. So volunteer position ID is the one that we want. So you just need to make sure that this box is checked. So let's say we want to add someone to this observer position. So we would just copy this number, highlight it and Control C. Go back to responses. Now we click add response. You can always do more. You can do a team one, which we can discuss in another video. I always just do add a single one. Then you're going to want to paste that number in there. It'll come down with a drop-down menu. Now your health fairs, many of them will not have shifts, so there should just be one option for you here. And then as a reminder, when you use, just like the other section, this user lookup, it must be someone who is already associated with your health fair site. So she is, and then I would just click add user response right here. So that's the second way you do it. The third and final way you do it is right here in the users, and you can go right into the user profile that you're looking to attach them. So let's say I'm picking on Mark today. So we click into their profile and we go over to volunteer positions, and then we would click schedule. The beauty about this version is that person that you're looking to manually add is already selected. So we don't have to go through that user selection process. So depending on your purposes, how many you're doing, this might be the easier way to go. And then in this drop-down menu, it's only going to be volunteer positions associated with your site. So click there. And now, of course, once again, your health fair site probably won't have quite as many shifts, so there should only be one option here. But if you do have shifts, you'll want to make sure you select the right one and you click continue, and that person will be added to that volunteer position. Again, for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to do that. So that is it. Those are the three ways that you can add a volunteer manually to a volunteer position of their choice. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Our shared email is ve@9health365.org. Thank you.